Hi there, my name is Elaine, and it's just a joy and a privilege to be able to share my story, my health and wellness testimony on behalf of Moore MyoWorx. So I have POTS. I have had POTS for over 2.5 years. It started after I had my second bout of COVID in September of 2022. So I never really got over COVID. I wasn't sure what was going on. When I started banging into walls and feeling like I was going to faint all the time, I thought I was having some mini strokes. So I went to my primary care and insisted I get an MRI to make sure it wasn't a tumor. And it wasn't, and nobody really knew. All I could think of was, this is long COVID, this is neurological long COVID. But then I figured out, I did more research and I went, oh my goodness, I have all the symptoms of POTS, because I would wake up in the morning, get out of bed and faint. I'd be in the shower and I would bang into the glass shower door because my balance was so off. It was very, very frightening. The fatigue was overwhelming, but not to the point where I couldn't work. I am in the healthcare field, seeing patients. I was able to continue working, but it was a struggle. I would work and I would sleep, and that was my life until I found Moore MyoWorx. I would sleep a minimum of 12 hours and never feel refreshed. I'm a semi-athlete. I would try to exercise, but exercise exacerbated all my symptoms of chronic fatigue, chronic debilitating fatigue, dizziness. I would have to tell my patients laughingly that I really was not inebriated. I couldn't walk in a straight line. My ears always felt stopped up. I thought I had, a eustachian tube dysfunction or some kind of a viral syndrome. Nothing I did would unstop my ears. My eyes started to become extremely sore, painful, dry, to the point where the conjunctiva were damaged, and I had to have my conjunctiva repaired through surgery. No, and I just thought, oh, it's dry eyes. I live in Colorado, it's a dry climate. Then I tested positive for Sjogren's, which is an autoimmune disease that causes dry eyes. And all this again happened after COVID. So I did a lot of research with long COVID. There's a lot that we don't know about it, but it does really impair our immune system. So we're more apt to come down with things. I consider POTS to be almost an autoimmune disease also. I didn't know what to do, but all I knew that I wanted to get well. So I started doing more and more research. Again, nobody was really knowing how to treat POTS with the research I was doing, but I ended up seeking out a functional medicine specialist and worked with him for a year to no avail. I spent a small fortune on him and supplements, but nothing worked. Then I spent a small fortune on hyperbaric treatments because some research I did said that would help, but it didn't. And then in October of last year, I finally got a little bit of relief. I started feeling a little bit better in terms of less fatigue, because fatigue was the most debilitating symptom. I mean, when you're tired and you don't want to, it's an effort just to eat. I lost a lot of weight because eating required too much energy. But anyway, last October I started feeling a little bit better, and I thought, hallelujah, I'm starting to recover from this. And then I had a freak accident which caused some major spinal damage, so required a lot of major surgery, which exacerbated the POTS to the point where I was bedridden for over 3 months. I knew that I should be feeling better from the surgery that I had, but I still wasn't feeling better. In fact, I was feeling much worse. And I remember one day, I pretty much wasn't doing anything but laying in bed all day. I would make myself get up and do some things. I would make myself walk a little bit. I was bound and determined and very disciplined that I wasn't going to succumb to whatever was going on with me. But I remember one day I felt extremely ill and very frustrated, and I really had lost hope. I mean, to the point that I felt like I was gonna have to live the rest of my life in bed. I wasn't able to work. That's how bad it was. And so I remember getting on the computer and I just Googled treatment for POTS, and Denver Moore MyoWorx came up, but I was too tired. The brain fog was too overwhelming. I could hardly hold my head up to really read about the program. So I shut off my computer. And then for a few days after that, it was probably a week actually, that site, the website, kept popping up into my head. And a little voice was saying, you need to go back there. So I did. And I got on the site and it was asking me to upload this and upload that and do a history of my illness, which I did. But there was no way I could upload any kind of identification. I was just that's how tired I was. And so I called, and one of the therapists named Taylor answered the phone, and to this day I'm not really sure what she said, but she sounded really knowledgeable and kept saying, you are going to get well. Come see us. I promise you, you are going to get well. She explained it in physiological terms, but again, my brain fog was too overwhelming for me to remember or understand, comprehend what she was telling me. I just had this feeling like, I think I found a cure or a treatment. So I talked to Taylor, and the next day I was being evaluated by Brennan, who's the medical director and physical therapist here at Moore MyoWorx. And he did some testing on me, which was pretty bad. I had little to no strength in my neck, my shoulders, my back. Range of motion was pretty much non-existent, which was impeding blood flow to my brain. And it all made sense to me. Medically, physiologically, it just made sense. This is why I feel the way I do. Impaired blood flow to the brain. So I enrolled in the program, started immediately, and the first 2 weeks, I got to admit, were a blur because I was so sick. Don't really remember much of the therapeutic exercises that Taylor was teaching me, but I remember at the end of the 2-week program that I had signed up for, I remember crying to Taylor and saying, I'm not ready to graduate. And so she told me about some additional work that I could do here at the facility, which I'm so happy I did, because this is my 5th week. And I have days where I'm 50 to 100% better. I have hope. Taylor and Terry Moore, who was the creator of this program, has given me my life back. I'm back at work. I'm functioning. I'm eating. The ear fullness has gone. Eye discomfort is 75 to 80% better. I was having SVT, which is a rapid heart rate at rest. That's gone. My tremors are gone. The fatigue is so much better. I'm smiling. I'm able to enjoy my friends and family. I'm going back on my walks. And all I can say is I thank God that I found this program. And if you get on the site, I want to make sure that you read or listen to the podcast that Terry Moore gave. You know, I was too sick to really look into all the particulars of what the website offers, but listen to his story. And physiologically, he really has done his research, and this all makes sense, the program. And what the program is they pretty much tell you what to do at home. And I know this is going to be part of my life's work, is doing the program at home, which I've been very faithful of. And again, I have had 2 days in the last 5 weeks where I've actually been 100% well. I have to keep pinching myself because it's almost been 3 years where I've lost my health. And if you don't have your health, you have nothing. Nothing matters. So I'll end with just saying thank you to Taylor and Brennan and Terry Moore and Anne and Lily. Those are all the wonderful people that I've met here. They're all loving and kind and very knowledgeable. If you enter into the program, I would encourage you to do the work, because it's not all about them. It's about what you want to achieve for yourself. And it is work. It takes work. But before you know it, 30 minutes of work at home gives you another 23 and a half hours of good health. Thank you for listening.